Gabriel's heart raced as he hit send on the desperate text for baby formula, only to realize seconds later he'd messaged the wrong number. What he didn't expect was the immediate reply from a stranger that would completely shatter his carefully guarded world as a single gay uncle in New York City. The frantic cries of 6-month-old Alex filled the cramped Brooklyn apartment, bouncing off the peeling walls and rattling Gabriel's already frayed nerves. It was past midnight. The city outside hummed with distant traffic, and Gabriel, 32 and exhausted from another sleepless night, rocked the baby in his arms while muttering promises he hoped he could keep. His sister Sarah had dropped Alex off 3 months earlier during one of her relapses, promising to get clean and return, but the calls had stopped coming. Now Gabriel was the only parent the little boy had, juggling freelance graphic design gigs from his laptop while fighting off the growing dread that his conservative family back in Ohio would make good on their threats to take custody. They had barely spoken to him since he came out at 22, their silence laced with disapproval that stung more than any argument. "Just hold on, buddy," Gabriel whispered to Alex, whose tiny fists waved in hunger. The formula canister sat empty on the counter, and his usual contact mic wasn't picking up. In a haze of panic, Gabriel had grabbed his phone and fired off what he thought was a quick plea to Mike. "Hey, can you grab some Enfamil on your way? Alex is out and I'm stuck." He didn't double-check the number, a careless slip born of fatigue. The reply pinged back almost instantly from an unrecognized contact. "Wrong number, but if this is for a baby in need, consider it handled. Send your address and I'll get a delivery rolling right now." Gabriel blinked at the screen, his thumb hovering. "Who was this?" He typed back cautiously. "This is Gabriel. Sorry for the mix-up. 245 4th Avenue, apartment 3B in Brooklyn. Really, you don't have to." The response came fast. "Emmanuel here. Already on it. Expect something in 30 minutes. 30 minutes? Gabriel's mind spun. He set Alex down in the playpen and paced, searching the number online out of curiosity. The results hit him like a wave. Emmanuel Harrington, tech billionaire, founder of a massive AI startup that had revolutionized data security, worth billions, with homes in Manhattan and Silicon Valley. Photos showed a tall, sharp-jawed man in his mid-30s, always in tailored suits, smiling confidently at galas. What on earth would a guy like that do with a random text about baby milk? Gabriel's stomach twisted with a mix of embarrassment and wary hope. He was just a broke gay uncle scraping by, hiding his loneliness behind forced smiles for Alex's sake. The knock came sooner than expected. A delivery driver stood there with boxes stacked high, premium organic formula, diapers, wipes, even a fancy stroller and a note tucked inside. "For the little one and you. Text if you need more. Emmanuel." Gabriel unpacked it all in stunned silence, Alex finally quieting as he prepared a bottle. The warmth of the gesture cracked something inside him, a crack that widened when Emmanuel texted again. "Hope that helps. How's the baby doing now?" They chatted late into the night, Gabriel sharing just enough about his situation without revealing too much. Emmanuel's replies were thoughtful, never pitying, asking genuine questions about life in Brooklyn and what it meant to suddenly become a dad. By dawn, Gabriel felt seen in a way he hadn't in years, but doubt crept in. Was this real, or just the kindness of a rich stranger who would forget him by morning? His phone buzzed one last time. "If you're free tomorrow, coffee on me? I'd like to meet the guy who accidentally reached out." Gabriel stared at the invitation, his heart pounding with equal parts fear and possibility. He had spent years building walls to protect himself from rejection, from the world's judgment on his identity, from the family that saw him as broken. Yet here was a door opening from the most unlikely place. He typed yes before he could overthink it, then lay awake wondering what kind of storm this single wrong text had unleashed in his quiet, struggling life. The next afternoon found Gabriel pushing Alex's new stroller through the bustling streets of Manhattan, nerves jangling like loose change in his pocket as he approached the upscale cafe Emmanuel had suggested. The billionaire had insisted on covering everything, including a car service that had picked them up from Brooklyn, making Gabriel feel both grateful and exposed. He adjusted his simple button-down shirt, the one without stains from baby spit-up, and scanned the outdoor tables until he spotted him. Emmanuel rose to greet them, taller in person with warm brown eyes that crinkled at the corners and a smile that seemed to cut through the city noise. "Gabriel, right? And this must be Alex," he said, voice smooth and genuine as he shook hands and offered a gentle wave to the baby. They settled in with lattes and pastries, the conversation flowing easier than Gabriel expected. Emmanuel shared pieces of his own story, how he'd built his empire from a garage startup, but always felt something missing after losing a close friend to a hate crime years back. "It made me realize life isn't just about the next deal," he admitted, stirring his coffee. "Family, connection, those matter more." Gabriel opened up too, describing the night Sarah left Alex on his doorstep and the quiet terror of learning to parent alone. He skirted around his sexuality at first, but when Emmanuel mentioned attending Pride events as an ally, Gabriel felt safe enough to say it. "Being gay hasn't made this any easier with my family. They're convinced I'm not fit to raise him." The words hung heavy, but Emmanuel leaned in, listening without interruption. Their talk stretched for hours, laughter mixing with serious moments as Alex cooed between them. Gabriel noticed the way Emmanuel's gaze lingered, not in judgment but with quiet interest, sparking a warmth he hadn't felt since college. Yet doubt gnawed at him on the ride home. What did a man like Emmanuel see in someone like him, a guy drowning in diapers and legal threats? That evening, texts continued, Emmanuel sending articles on custody laws and offering to connect him with a lawyer friend. Gabriel accepted cautiously, his internal voice whispering warnings about handouts and hidden motives. Still, the support felt real, chipping away at the isolation that had defined his days. Over the following week, they met again, this time at Emmanuel's sleek penthouse for a simple dinner he cooked himself. The view of the skyline took Gabriel's breath away, but it was Emmanuel's easy laugh and the way he bounced Alex on his knee that lingered longest. For the first time in months, Gabriel slept deeply, dreaming not of loss but of possibilities. Family calls from Ohio grew sharper, his mother pressing about providing a normal home, her tone dripping with the same old prejudice. Gabriel hung up each time feeling smaller, but Emmanuel's messages reminded him he wasn't alone. "You're doing something incredible," one read. The bond deepened slowly, conversations turning personal as they shared vulnerabilities. Gabriel admitted his fear of never finding love while raising Alex, and Emmanuel confessed the emptiness of his success-driven life. A pivotal moment came when Emmanuel helped secure emergency funds for Gabriel's rent, framing it as an investment in a friend. Gabriel wrestled with pride but accepted, recognizing it as the first real step toward stability. Their connection hummed with unspoken potential, the air charged during a quiet walk in Central Park where hands brushed accidentally. Gabriel pulled back, heart conflicted, but the seed of something more had been planted amid the formula bottles and city lights. Weeks blurred into a rhythm Gabriel never imagined, with Emmanuel becoming a steady presence in their lives through daily texts and weekend visits that turned the penthouse into a haven of laughter and light. Yet the shadows of Gabriel's past loomed larger as custody papers arrived from Ohio, his parents formally challenging his guardianship on grounds that an unmarried gay man couldn't offer stability. The words on the document burned, reigniting every old wound of rejection and forcing Gabriel into sleepless nights questioning his worth. Emmanuel stepped up without hesitation, arranging meetings with top family lawyers who specialized in LGBTQ cases. "This isn't charity," he insisted during one late-night strategy session, his hand resting briefly on Gabriel's shoulder. "It's what friends, or more, do for each other." The word more hung between them, unspoken but felt in the charged silences. Gabriel's internal storm raged. He loved the way Emmanuel made him feel capable and desired, yet the fear of being seen as a project clawed at him. During a tense family video call, his father accused him of dragging Alex into an unnatural lifestyle, the prejudice slicing deep. Gabriel defended himself fiercely, voice steady for Alex's sake, but hung up shattered. Emmanuel listened afterward, sharing his own coming-out struggles in the cutthroat business world, where he'd hidden parts of himself to protect his company. Their embrace that night was tentative, a hug that lingered with promise, but Gabriel pulled away, whispering, "I can't drag you into my mess." Still, Emmanuel persisted, inviting them to a quiet weekend at his Hamptons home where Alex played on the beach and the two men talked until sunrise about dreams deferred. Gabriel felt himself growing, shedding layers of self-doubt as Emmanuel encouraged him to resume freelance work with introductions to clients. The relationship blossomed through small acts, shared meals, late-night stories, and the way Emmanuel's eyes softened when watching Gabriel with the baby. But societal whispers followed, a tabloid photo of them together sparking online speculation that forced Emmanuel to address rumors at a board meeting. He chose openness, publicly supporting Gabriel without naming the romance yet. This act of courage deepened their bond, yet Gabriel's crisis peaked when a close friend from his old life betrayed him by leaking details to his family, amplifying the custody pressure. Confronted with the choice to fight or retreat, Gabriel decided to stand firm, filing his own affidavits with Emmanuel's quiet backing. The emotional toll tested him, but each decision forged resilience, turning isolation into shared strength as they navigated the storm together. The custody hearing loomed like a dark cloud, pulling Gabriel deeper into doubt, just as his connection with Emmanuel reached a tender turning point. Misunderstandings flared when Gabriel overheard a lawyer mention financial incentives, twisting it in his mind into pity rather than partnership. He distanced himself for days, ignoring calls and retreating to the Brooklyn apartment with Alex, convinced he was nothing more than a charity case for the billionaire. The silence hurt them both, Emmanuel sending thoughtful messages that went unanswered while Gabriel grappled with his identity crisis. "Am I worthy of this?" he journaled one night, the words reflecting years of internalized shame from family and society. A breakthrough came when Emmanuel showed up unannounced with groceries and a simple plea, "Let's talk, no strings." Their conversation spilled raw truths, Gabriel admitting his fear of losing everything if the romance failed, and Emmanuel revealing his past betrayal by an ex who exploited his wealth. Reconciliation brought them closer, hands intertwining as they vowed honesty moving forward. Emmanuel's legal team uncovered evidence of Sarah's instability, strengthening Gabriel's case, but the real gift emerged in quiet moments where love bloomed unspoken. Gabriel sacrificed his pride by accepting full support for the hearing prep, recognizing it as trust rather than weakness. Family pressure intensified with surprise visits from relatives preaching normalcy, forcing Gabriel to confront them directly about the harm their bias caused. The confrontation left him drained but empowered, Alex's giggles reminding him why he fought. Emmanuel stood by, his presence a steady anchor, and during one vulnerable evening they shared their first real kiss, tentative and full of promise under the city lights. Gabriel's growth shone through decisions like enrolling in parenting classes and rebuilding his career network, each step affirming his path. Yet the betrayal from his old friend lingered, prompting a painful cutoff that tested friendships. As the hearing date neared, their bond faced its first real test when tabloid leaks threatened Emmanuel's business reputation, forcing him to weigh public exposure against private happiness. Gabriel urged caution, but Emmanuel chose visibility, declaring support for LGBTQ families in a company statement. This act rippled outward, drawing community allies and easing some isolation. The file closed on a hopeful note, the two men and Alex sharing a peaceful dinner, the unimaginable gift of connection evolving into something profound amid the rising stakes. Courtroom tension crackled as the custody battle reached its peak, Gabriel standing tall beside Emmanuel, while lawyers presented evidence of his stable, loving home. The opposing side hurled prejudice openly, citing his sexuality as a risk, but Gabriel's prepared testimony poured out years of suppressed pain and unwavering commitment to Alex. The judge's questions probed deep, forcing Gabriel to articulate his growth from isolated uncle to man embracing love and responsibility. Emmanuel testified too, his voice steady as he described witnessing Gabriel's sacrifices and the genuine family they formed. A turning point hit when evidence of the family's own instability emerged, shifting momentum. Yet a personal crisis struck when Gabriel's ex-friend resurfaced with false claims, nearly derailing everything and triggering old doubts. Gabriel chose confrontation, meeting the betrayer to demand accountability, emerging stronger from the emotional reckoning. Emmanuel risked his empire by going fully public with their relationship in a press release, sacrificing anonymity to stand united. The decision sparked board pushback and media frenzy, but it solidified their partnership. Gabriel's internal awakening crested, as he realized the gift wasn't wealth but the courage to live authentically. Family reconciliation attempts failed amid their refusal to accept him, prompting Gabriel to sever ties permanently in a painful letter that freed him. High stakes mounted with Alex's health scare from stress, pulling the men into hospital vigils where shared worry deepened their love. Gabriel proposed they formalize guardianship together, a bold step Emmanuel accepted with joy. The hearing concluded favorably, the judge ruling in Gabriel's favor with provisions for ongoing support. Relief washed over them in waves, but the real climax came in a quiet moment where Gabriel confessed, "You've given me more than formula or money. You've given me a future I believed I didn't deserve." Their embrace marked the shift from survival to thriving, personal growth evident in Gabriel's renewed confidence and Emmanuel's softened edges. Victory in court brought waves of relief, yet Gabriel and Emmanuel faced the aftermath with open eyes, navigating newfound publicity while building a life together in the penthouse that now felt like home for all three. Alex thrived under their care, his laughter filling spaces once empty, symbolizing the family they'd chosen. Gabriel resumed full-time design work with Emmanuel's introductions, his creativity flourishing as self-doubt faded into purpose. The unimaginable gift crystallized not in material things but in the daily choices. Late-night talks healing old wounds, shared parenting decisions strengthening their bond, and public advocacy turning personal pain into broader impact. Family silence from Ohio lingered as a scar, but Gabriel made peace with it through therapy sessions Emmanuel encouraged, marking true emotional maturity. A minor setback arose when business rivals exploited their story, but the couple stood firm, their love proving resilient. Gabriel's pivotal choice came during a quiet proposal on the balcony, asking Emmanuel to officially become co-guardian and partner for life, sealing their journey with commitment. Emmanuel's acceptance brought tears and laughter, the city skyline witnessing their growth from strangers linked by a text to soulmates forging a legacy. Reflections on the path showed how each conflict, misunderstanding, and sacrifice had sculpted them stronger, prejudice yielding to acceptance within their circle. As months passed, Gabriel often paused to appreciate the ordinary miracles. Formula runs now joyful errands, family dinners free of fear. Their story rippled outward, inspiring others through subtle shares at events, emphasizing that love between men could build homes against odds. The final awakening settled in Gabriel during a sunset walk with Alex and Emmanuel, realizing the wrong number had been the truest right turn. Life in America, with its challenges and triumphs, had taught him resilience, authenticity, and the power of unexpected connections. They celebrated quietly with a small gathering of chosen friends, toasts to growth and the baby who united them. The journey complete, yet ongoing, left Gabriel with profound gratitude for the man who answered a desperate plea and transformed everything. True or false? A single mistaken text can lead to the greatest love and family a gay man could ever build?